My name is April. I'm one of the plant operators here for Utilities Kingston. Right at the moment we are at 302 King Street, which is our main water treatment plant for the city, the King Street Water Treatment Plant. Right now you can see Lake Ontario. We started out here just to show this is actually where we get our water from for the water treatment plant. We're quite lucky here to have Lake Ontario as our water source because we have a lot of water and it is quite clean compared to what some people have to deal with. Alright, so now let's begin the tour and you can see how we treat the water here at the plant. That is the surge chamber, so the water technically comes in from the lake into that chamber just to try to control like how quickly the water's coming in, and then we pull the water from that through into the low lift building. Our intake that gets the water from the lake is about a kilometer out, and if I remember right, it's 18 meters down, so it's really clean water because it's so far to the bottom of the lake, and it's really far out there when you think about a kilometer. And you can see the low lift building from here right behind me, and that's actually where the water is going to come into. That's where it starts, is at our low lift building. In the low lift building, we have the great big traveling screen, and it does exactly what it's called. It travels, so it rotates around, and it's going to trap any fish, eels, sticks, catches a lot of seaweed and that sort of thing. In the low lift building, we also have the low lift pumps. You could see there's 4 low lift pumps. 2 of them just are great big blue motors, is all you can see on the top. The other 2 have a diesel on them, so you can see some of the pumps are blue and yellow. The yellow side is actually the diesel engine, the blue side is the electric engine. So similar to the high lifts, when there's a power outage, we can still keep pumping water because the diesels are going to run. These low lift pumps basically just pump it across our parking lot and in over to the mixing chambers. As these low lift pumps pump the water over, we add a chemical called a coagulant. Basically what that does is it changes the charge of the particles and allows for it all to stick together. And the idea is that if we can form larger flock, it's all going to settle out really well. This spot right here is actually our storage for our coagulant chemicals. Right at the moment we're using something called packs. Before that we were using alum. It's hard to visualize it, but in behind here is actually a giant tank holding the chemical, and these pumps are pulling out of that tank and adding in to the low lift building. So once the chemical gets added here, there's piping along here, and the water goes through these chambers and it'll all mix, and it goes through tanks called settling tanks. And in the settling tanks, everything's just going to settle out, any large flock along with dirt and that sort of thing. The cleaner water that doesn't have all of the flock and dirt and stuff in it will fall over a weir. And then it goes into the top of our filters here. Our filters are either granular activated carbon or anthracite on the top, and then it's basically sand and stone. So the water will come in to the very top of the filters, and it's going to work its way down to the very bottom, and the granular activated carbon and sand and everything is going to trap anything that's in there. Any of the dirt and bacteria, whatever it can get, is going to be at the top of the filters. So by the time it goes through to the very bottom, it's going to be pretty clean water. So we have 6 filters here at the plant. Every 24 hours, each filter will get backwashed. When they get backwashed, basically what we have to do is drain the water down below troughs, which you guys will see soon. When the water goes below the troughs, we need to use clean water to blow it back through the bottom of the filters. So basically it's just going to agitate everything, and normally the water flows this way, so it's going to come up. When it comes up, all the dirt and everything that's stuck on the granular activated carbon or the anthracite is going to come up into the water. And then you'll see that the water's going to flow over into these troughs, and it's considered wastewater. It doesn't go back out into your drinking water or anything. It is dirty because it's got any dirt that we trapped on the top of the filters in it. The flags that you could see moving around were the tops of the agitators. The agitators are long bars at the very top of the filter. When we start a filter backwash, the agitators will circle around and just help to break up any of the dirt that is trapped on top of the filter. That's why you could see the water getting so cloudy when the backwash started. So this is a cross-section of what our filters look like on a very small scale compared to how deep and how big they actually are. Basically, you just see here the top black portion of it is either going to be the granular activated carbon or the anthracite, which is what's going to help take care of any smells from algae. It takes out a lot of the odor and stuff that's in the water from algae and things that are really, really small. And it's going to trap all the dirt and everything in the very top of these. Then from there, you can see it's pretty small. We have sand, and then it goes to very fine stone down to bigger stuff. Basically, the idea here is everything's going to get trapped on the very top layer. By the time it comes to the bottom here, we're going to have very clean, clear water. And once it comes out to the bottom here, this is where it's going to empty and drain into our clear wells and have the sodium hypochlorite added to it for disinfection. This big thing here is each filter has one. It doesn't work any longer, but back in the day before the computers, when all the valves were electric, the guys would have to backwash the filters with these. They would just have to stand here and open and close everything manually. Nowadays, everything has an electric motor on it and some sort of control, so we actually have computers that tell the valves when to open and close, unless something goes wrong, and then we would have to do it, but for now, it's usually the computer that does everything. This is what we call the pipe gallery. This is actually, on this wall are each of the filters, so this is the very bottom of the filter. So this is where the really clean water is going to come out. So the filtered water comes out this way, and down through this big pipe into the ground, which goes into our clear well that I told you about. This little one that you actually see is called the filter to waste valve. Once a backwash has been completed, for the first 5 minutes or so, we actually filter to waste that water, which means it's not going to get filtered out into the clear well. And that is just while we let everything settle back out after the backwash has stirred everything up. And this big pipe right here is actually the clean water that is in the clear well that comes back in to do the filter backwash. water's been filtered and it's clean. We add our disinfectant, which is sodium hypochlorite. Basically, that is going to kill or inactivate any viruses, bacteria, pathogens, anything like that. So once the sodium hypochlorite has been added, it goes into a huge tank called our clear well, which we'll show you guys. In there, the water is able to sit for a certain amount of time so that we can get that contact time that it needs to be able to kill anything that might be left over and in there. Once that has been done, there's a side of the well for the high lifts. The high lift pumps are great big pumps that are basically going to push the water out our door into the street and into the big mains out there. Right now what we're looking at are the high lift pumps, so you can see the pumps and the motors themselves. So these are the big pumps that push the water out into the distribution system. We have 5 electric high lift pumps. They are what runs normally during a normal day. We also have one huge high lift pump that has an electric motor and a diesel motor, so when we have any power outages, the diesel side of it will run. And then we also have 2 other high lift pumps that run just on diesel motors, so they will also run in a power outage. And lastly, we have we call it our genset. It's diesel powered as well, so when we have no electricity here, it's going to run and it's going to make sure we have certain lights and computers and our valves are still automated and that sort of thing, so that the plant can run normally during a power outage. These right here are all of our chlorine analyzers. One thing we have to monitor constantly is how much chlorine or sodium hypochlorite we actually have in the water. That's what's going to provide the disinfection to get rid of bacteria, viruses, and that sort of thing. These are actually, they come through on a computer screen for us as well, but we can come right down here and check things manually if we need to. Along with the chlorine, we have to monitor turbidity, which is just basically letting us know if there's any particles in the water. Here on this diagram, it just shows the high lift pumps pushing the water out into the distribution system. So from that, the water's either going to fill up our towers, it's going to go straight to your homes, or it's going to fill any reservoirs that we have. Kingston actually has 2 water plants that supply water for the whole city. In between, this is the main water plant. It supplies to basically old Kingston, so downtown, the East End. We have our one water tower in behind Princess Street near Giant Tiger, and then we have 3 water towers out on the east end of town. There's D&D, there's Milton Tower and Gore Road, so Highway 2 and Highway 15. We also have a great big reservoir that stores about 22,000 cubic meters of water. Then for the other water plant, we have great big tower, Creekford Tower, which is right up by the 401. We have a smaller tower at Gardeners Road and Princess, and around that location we also have another reservoir there. And we have one more reservoir on Progress Avenue that stores a lot of water as well. So we have a lot of places that we actually hold water after it's been processed at the water plants. When it warms up, it can sort of burn off the chlorine residual that we're trying to maintain a little bit quicker, which is why, especially in the summer when it is warmer, it's very important to get turnover and make sure the water levels are coming up and down. So this is our control room. This is where we can see everything that's going on in the plant. These computers, there's quite a few different plants that are actually on here. The main one one that we're focused with is the central water plant, which is what you just saw today. We can see everything that's going on. We can see if there's a valve open or closed, a filter backwashing, which high lift pumps are running, and that sort of thing. And as you can tell, there's a lot of hard work and a lot of steps that go into treating the drinking water. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to look up, Utilities Kingston does have a webpage.